to another episode of Live in the Vision. I'm your host, Chris Jacobson. Thanks for tuning in. I have an exciting guest tonight, Jared Adamson from Culligan Water Conditioning. And I will let Jared introduce himself and kind of give us, Jared, if you could, a little bit of background about how you came to be the Culligan man.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate being on your podcast show. It's kind of exciting, new for me entirely. So, how I got to be the Culligan man. I've been in the contracting business 8 years prior, and I'm starting my 5th year now as the Culligan dealer. So we've got 13 years of experience under our belt in the mechanical contracting business, you could say. I used to do heating, cooling, and I thought I was going to do that for a long time, and I just really enjoyed the interaction with people, and I've always been a guy to kind of work with my hands a little bit.
Sure.
The business side, was just something you kind of had to learn as you go, because I did business down at USD, and as I was doing business, I kind of wanted to be in the retail side of things, really like a outdoor marketing. So working for a big outdoor store like maybe a Cabela's or a Shield or something, and I wanted to do that. Well, as life moved on, there's not a Cabela's or a Shields or a Bass Pro Shops on every street corner. So,
right.
Anyways, just always worked with my hands, and again, I was in the heating cooling business, and opportunity came up to purchase Culligan, and thought it would be a good opportunity. There's down in your mechanical room or furnace room, people might call it, you've got your furnace, and a lot of times right next to it there's a water softener, and I thought, well, geez, how hard could this be? So kind of seized the opportunity to purchase our local Culligan store.
Yeah, that's smart. Everybody needs to be warm in the winter and cool in the summer, and they all need to drink water. So you've picked industries that are pretty much recession proof.
Yeah.
But how did you go from heating and cooling to water? The switch over to a different industry. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was kind of a tough decision, because I knew the industry I was working in the heating and cooling business. Every building in our location has a furnace and pretty much an air conditioner. So that was a big decision for me to make. But at the same time, I did a lot of research with the Culligan name. An interesting fact is the founder of Culligan International, Emmett Culligan, was born in Yankton, South Dakota. Yep, his originally dad grew up in the Utica area, and Emmett J. Culligan was born in Yankton, South Dakota. So that was kind of resonated with me. It's like, wow, this is an international company.
Yeah.
There's over 500 and some dealerships in North America, and the founder of the company was from Yankton. I was like, that's just pretty neat in itself. So knowing that water quality is a global problem, and that our water quality is certainly not ever going to improve. We have to always be mindful and do our best due diligence to take care of our water resources that we have. And Culligan's at the forefront of all that, with all of the product lines that we offer and everything, to the research that they do, to the Culligan Cares global water movement that they try and take care of in countries around the world. It was just something that I saw that was a company that was going to be around for a long time, and they invested a lot into the dealerships and the people that they're with. So I thought it'd be a good fit to pursue.
That's really interesting. And so I guess for all of our listeners' benefit too, I have a Culligan in my office to offer delicious water to my clients, but what all do you guys do beyond that? Because I understand your operation's bigger than I realize.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are just perceive that we carry around big five-gallon jugs of water and deliver them to businesses.
Right.
It's the sky is the limit. I had a friend that thought the same thing, and he's in the ag business, and they have an oat processing plant where they process oats. And when they process the oats, they need that oat to be at a certain humidity level.
Mm-hmm.
And we do water treatment to provide steam boilers with boiler quality water, we call it. Everything from ethanol plants to any type of steam generator. And we're working on a project right now where they process honey, and they've got a water heaters slash steam application that they use to separate honey, and that particular piece of equipment has to have ultra pure water going to it. So we purify water to all kinds of mechanical equipment, as well as hospital sterilizers. Every surgery they do, all those utensils have to get rinsed with ultra pure water as well as sterilized water. Well, we provide their sterilizers with the cleanest water possible. Every school around here has water conditioning equipment in it. Labs that do blood work, they also require a certain amount of water sometimes. But then again, just obviously getting perfectly clean drinking water to homes and businesses. Just today, there's a mother that was expecting, and they wanted perfectly clean water for the mom and future baby, so they didn't have any contaminants in their water. They were being mindful to take care of themselves. So we're glad to set them up with Culligan drinking water system in their home, so they could have clean water for the whole family.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you made the leap to go from the heating and cooling business to owning your own business, talk to me about that. I think that a lot of people have this misconception that business owners have to be just sort of loaded with money or something like that. I know there's a lot of misconceptions around what it takes to start a business or to seed the capital that it takes to start one. So what did you do to kind of prepare yourself or get ready to take over and launch Culligan?
Yep. When I was a kid, my parents were in business. My grandparents were in business. So, I shouldn't say I understood business, but I saw people being successful, being in business. And it's not that I really wanted to be, super successful and, line my pockets, with millions, but it was just one of those deals where it's like, hey, I can work hard and I can do that. And, I kind of had this, notion, like I just kind of wanted to maybe do my own thing someday. And I think part of it too is, I guess coming from background from sports too, is you're always around people and you're always trying to, you're always kind of a team and you kind of want to be part of that team, but yet you kind of have a desire to help that team be as successful as possible. Mm-hmm. You kind of have that little drive and desire to do that. So, I kind of thought, this would be, a good opportunity. And as far as getting there, that was kind of a long road. Certainly not a big pot full of cash sitting around to take on an opportunity like this. As young business entrepreneurs, there are certain channels that you can do to find the funds available. For us, we were young family. Certainly not a lot of cash sitting around. One thing right out of the gates, our daughter was born premature, and we got hit with some huge medical bills right away. So we were just soaked from the start. But one thing that we did early on, and even back to when my wife and I got married in college, we bought a starter home, and that starter home required a lot of work. There was no yard, there was no garage, and my wife was going to grad school, so we put a little garage on the side of the house and the study room. And my wife's going to grad school, and I was already had graduated. And I was working my first job while she was studying at night, so I had nothing but time, to work on things. So we just put a ton of sweat equity into our first house, and when it came time to sell the house, it's like, man, we got some serious equity out of this thing. We were able to make money because of the time we put into that. So our first house, when we were down for $1 million, sold that. We were able to use that money as a down payment on the next house, and the next house we bought, similar situation. We had a unfinished garage and some upkeep maintenance things to do, so we finished that and we're able to turn around and sell that house and make a little bit of money with our sweat equity. Mm-hmm. And then we had an opportunity to purchase I would call an investment property in Yankton. We're going to use it as a rental house. Mm-hmm. And that required a lot of maintenance as well. And this is a time where we're just starting to have kids, and Amanda was a pretty solid job, and I was willing to put in the extra hours, so we bought this investment, property, this little house that we try and rent out. And anyways, that house required a lot of work as well, and so there was late nights down there, and it was our personal finances that went into that piece of property, And there's times that, like I mentioned, I'll never forget us painting a closet and then working in there all night, from cleaning carpets to paint and trim to fixing kitchen sinks to restructuring the floor joist downstairs, and peeked outside and the sun was coming up, and that's happened multiple times throughout the years of doing all that hard work. But so go home when the sun's coming up, get 2 hours of sleep, to turn right back around to go to work, all in the hopes of living the American dream, to make some money to have there for an opportunity like this. So all that started off with sweat equity, and we were able to basically come up with a little bit of funds here and there, and before you know it, we were able to put a little down payment on the purchase of our business, and basically being able to just the generosity of the bank to see the value that in us and see what we've done, and also look at the company and say, this would be something worth investing in, and we were able to put the funds together to get the business bought.
That's fantastic. So I really like that story, because I think like I mentioned before, there's a ton of misconception around it, but if you want to work hard, put in the time, there's ways to do it. And so you gave the example of the homes that you've lived in, or rental property. I mean, I've heard it said before that real estate can be the great equalizer, in that average Joe can buy a home, build equity in it, and then that can be the seed capital that helps them start a business. Mine actually was a very similar situation, where when we sold our residence in Oregon and moved out here, housing market a little different out there, things go for a lot more. So it was the seed capital we needed to start our business. That's good. That's awesome. It was those hours and hours, like you said, of the time to put in.
Yep.
So I guess with that, saving all of that up, making the jump into it, you probably still spent in the beginning a ton of hours getting the business launched, finding clientele.
Yep.
Talk about the process.
Yeah, so when we started our company in 2016, it's January 1, 2016, there was just 3 total employees. So myself, a receptionist was also my office manager, and then I had a delivery guy, just the 3 of us. And as a guy wanting to grow his business and do as much as possible and help every customer, that was a real eye-opener. I told myself that I was going to run this business on my own. Well, not run it on my own, but I wasn't going to hire anybody for 6 months, because I wanted to learn everything about this business. I wanted to be hands-on. And not even a month into it, I said, this is a recipe for failure, because I couldn't do it all on my own. There's no way. I would be doing too many service calls every day, and I wouldn't be getting sales appointments. And that kind of I can do it all on my own attitude had to get washed out immediately, because there was just, like I said, a recipe for failure. So after just 1 month into business, I realized that I needed a service guy. So then I hired my first service guy in the end of February, and then we had 4 employees, and I trained him for as long as I could and get him going. And then I was still doing service and sales calls as well as him, and trying to grow my business. I was trying to network with as many I'd say like large scale commercial contractors to get bigger jobs, these big projects at these hospitals and schools, the oil refineries, things like that. These opportunities are out there, but you just have to have time to go get them. Right. And so I was still caught in the situation where I wanted to go get that work, but yet I was still doing sales calls and still doing stuff around the office. I was like, well, I need somebody to do that stuff so I can go, network and communicate with these guys that are on these projects, so we can help them out and show them, the type of things that we can provide for them. Most of them all have a return on their investment and a cost savings in the end after the initial investment. If you can provide them cleaner water to their equipment's going to run more efficiently and last longer. They won't have to buy their equipment as often or replace their equipment as often.
Makes sense.
So anyways, refresh me where we're going on that question. I guess we were talking about the growing, I guess my growing pains.
Yeah,
you know, and
the early on the
the
process
early
of
on
kind
the
of building
process.
it, and then
Yep.
you moved from 3 employees when you started to
Yep.
4th. And,
to 4. Yep. So now, we're starting our 5th year, and we have 9 employees. So actually 10 now. So we've added one more. So so we've jumped over those hurdles, and
Right.
now we're taking in on another market as well. So this hopefully going to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah, organically growing, kind of
Yep.
growing as the
Yep.
as the business grows.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense then to
Yep.
add employees. And,
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
all right, I've got another topic I'm excited to talk with you about. I know that you're a former Division I athlete, as am I, and I think that there's this parallel between business management and being an athlete at a somewhat higher level. And so I'm really curious on your thoughts. What about sport kind of lends itself to success in business management?
Yeah. The sport in itself, just the competitiveness. I mean, I think a lot of us can relate that. The sky's the limit. You're as good as you want to be. Until you really reach that maximum potential. But what is that maximum potential? As an athlete, at first, it was, I guess, bigger, faster, stronger. I was a football, basketball, track guy. And the positions I played, it was kind of bigger, faster, stronger. Can I get bigger? Can I still stay fast? And can I do it stronger? Can I get my times better? And it was, there was a point there where you always could, and you could always do a little bit better. You could put in that extra time. You could do those last couple extra reps. You could shoot, a couple more free throws till you got 10 out of 10. Those last little things that, quite honestly, led to some state championships during our era. It was, and that success, just you could feed off of for your whole life because you experienced it. You said, I could get better. I did get better. We won championships because of it. And in business, it's the same way. It's like, we can do more and we can do a better job. And like I said, when I first started, it's not because I wanted to, make millions. Because man, we can do better. We can provide a better solution. We can help those people out. And it's like, well, we need to show them. Well, we need to tell them. And then now it's, I need to get out there and show those people. I need to make that phone call to this guy to say, hey, I can save you money. On the pre-treatment to your big boiler equipment, or these people with paint lines. I can't tell you how many times people, these big manufacturing plants around here where their paint can be an issue, and if their paint doesn't apply to their product correctly, the end user, will say, hey, we're not accepting any more of these orders because, the paint on here looks terrible, and that all goes in the junk, and that all that labor and time and investment and product was wasted, and then they don't get paid for it. So, if we can just say, hey, we can help out, clean your equipment before it goes to paint, your paint will stick better, if we can just tell people those things. And that's where it's like, hey, we can do better, we can help you there, And I think it's just that mentality. And then too, in the end, we're used to having to find a solution. I go, one of basketball is one of my favorite sports. I wasn't the best at it, but I really enjoyed it. I love that competitive nature. And 5 guys on the court had to come up with a solution to, beat their number 1 player, or, who to key on and who to guard, who to switch screens on. And you communicate that every time you came off the court, or on the court, you work that out. And in business, it's like, hey guys, let's do this, And I'm a firm believer in there's always a better way to do something. There really is. And if we can always find the better way, we'll be doing the best we can. And so I'm never, a believer that's like, hey, it's got to be this way, unless we found out this is the best way, So if there's a better way to do something, please show me, because I want to learn. I want to know how to do that better, because I want all of us to be able to do it better, So, I mean, that's kind of how I look at things in our line of work.
Right. There's 2 key things there. The time, like you mentioned, putting in the extra time for the free throws, the weight room, whatever it is to make bigger, faster, stronger, like you said. Yeah. Same with the hours and hours that you put in for the seed capital. So it's like the same things that we did as athletes tend to lend themselves to success in business. And then the other one I loved is your solution finding. Yeah. You're recognizing patterns. Yeah. I think pattern recognition is one of one of my biggest strengths. If it's not working, I realize that, and then we find a solution. We figure out a different way, and then you hone and refine what you're doing to find kind of the best way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, have that natural capacity to recognize when something's not working or when it is. The other thing is accountability. I wrote that down when you first started. Like, we were both track athletes. The 400-meter oval doesn't lie.
No.
It's just, it's the purest, you run that distance, and everybody anywhere in the world who runs in meters gets that same distance. So you're accountable to your performance and what you've done. And I think we're measured by that as business owners, where we don't get to blame anybody. You can't pass the buck at the end of the day. If it's your business or your company, your name's on the door, it's your fault whether it was an employee or not. And so I really like that we're ultimately accountable.
I know when I first bought the business, there was a lot of misconceptions. It's unfortunate, but our local Culligan dealership had kind of changed hands a couple times here early on, or I should say early on, but more recently. It used to have some strong ownership for a long time in years past, and all of a sudden it made a couple ownership changes in a shorter period of time. And I kind of joked around that the first 2 years, I could maybe blame it on somebody else, but it was actually, I said the first year, I could maybe point fingers, but the second year it was all on me. So, and I understood that there's no one to blame, or to look at except yourself in a lot of those situations. So you certainly have to take 100% ownership of the direction of your company.
Yeah. Another point you made was, sky's the limit, like aspiring to be really good at something. I know from your recent success that you're one of the faster growing small market dealers in the country. That's quite an honor.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
but
thanks.
What is it that makes you aspire and kind of get after it to sort of be the best you can be in your space?
Yeah, and again, that's just I was telling my wife the other day. I've had some injuries from the past that have been haunting me as an older athlete, and I just tell her, like, oh man, I would love to do some of those things again, just be competitive, and just certain things that when you get up there in age, you're like, maybe you shouldn't do those, anymore. But so instead, I look at it as a business, like, hey, we can do better. There's more out there, and there's for people in business or starting up, you'd be amazed at the opportunity out there. It's just that who's going to get it? It's like a jump ball at the beginning of the game, or a rebound. Who's going to get it? Am I going to get it, or is it going to let the next guy get it? And it's there. You just got to get it.
Right.
So that's the way I look at every opportunity. And it's kind of funny. This station brings me all kinds of memories sitting in here, and seeing all this, Yankton stuff. One of my favorite shirts I still have, because I got it a couple times. It was, it had the big Y on it for Yankton, and it was Optimist of the Year. It's, I can do that, or I can do it better. And that's one thing about I enjoy being in business is, hey, not only can we do it, but let's do it better. Let's provide a better solution, and that's what I like. It's the opportunity is there.
Right.
Let's go get it.
Right. And the key takeaway, I didn't know all of this about you, but like there was no shortcut here.
No.
You put in the time,
Yeah.
the sweat equity, and all of it, and that really is what it is. And whether we're athletes or business owners, you got to put in the time, whether it's at your business or on the court or whatever it is, to be as good as you can be. And I love how aspirational you are, because I figure I'm very, very similar, and I'm getting up there too, but why not? Why can't I be the fastest old 5K runner in Yankton?
Yeah.
I think I might run a 5K here coming up.
Good.
But like you just aspire to those things, and I think too, we both are fathers and have younger children, but what a fun thing to be able to pass on to them. My son is a swimmer, and I love swimming. I love swimming almost as much as running, from the perspective of they get to swim 7-8 times in a weekend, and so they get to experience winning or losing 7 or 8 times, and teaching them how to deal with both loss and win. And you control this. Like, how are you going to go improve on this? Like, you can compare them against their own time. It doesn't even have to be against the other competitors. I mean, naturally, I love to compete, but when you've got somebody who's younger and they're just like developing the stroke, well, hey, you didn't DQ, you got a time. Versus, okay, you swam it faster than you did the last time, or this time a year ago. Look at that, just incredible progress. Because I think the more time that we spend at a thing, we naturally get better at it.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. My daughter is in 3rd grade, and she's been playing basketball for a couple of years now, and enjoying it more now. And I'm glad, because that was one of my favorite sports. Granted, I was probably maybe more successful at track, but as I grew up, I guess you could say, I played a little more city league basketball, a little more intramural basketball. There was no intramural track at the time, so anyways, played a little more basketball. But as my daughter now, and I go shoot around, at first she was kind of funny. It's the sweetest little girl ever, and but I think it was one of those things that she wanted to learn on her own, and I know, Dad, let me do it, and just last week at the gym, it was funny. She was talking about a dribbling drill. She's like, she's trying to do something. I said, you trying to do the spider drill, a dribbling drill? And I did it, and and she's like, how did you know how to do that? And I said, because I practiced basketball, for 13 years, and she's like, I didn't know you were that good, and I was like, I didn't know I was that good either. Anyways, it's kind of funny, but I kind of shocked myself, but I hope she saw that, because she was also joking around. Like, we played horse, the horse game, and I'd make a shot, she had to make the same one and things, and anyways. And I'd hit shots, and she thought I was just this old guy that didn't want to play basketball. And she's like, I didn't know you were that good. And and again, she's like, how did you ever get that good? I was like, because I practiced for 13 years, and practiced hard, and we tried to always get better. And that clicked, and she realized, like, so this is what practice is. And we did some dribbling drills after that, and we were doing some kind of race relay stuff. And before, she really didn't have a desire to do that, and then all of a sudden she realized, like, if I practice, I'm going to get good. And that was kind of fun, so that's so passing that on to our kids, that's where, as soon as that starts to click with them, that their hard work is going to get rewarded, that, wow, I can be good too, or better, if I work hard. So that's just fun to see that our kids will just start to experience and grow it too.
Yeah, 100%. Then they start thinking, sky's the limit, how high can I reach? And that's pretty neat. So the name of the podcast is Live in the Vision. I would call you a visionary. You've got the ambition. And so what kind of parting advice would you give for maybe an aspiring, want to start a business or do a side hustle to kind of get started in something else? What would you do if you were giving some advice?
Kind of I guess, just always be, true to yourself, and just know that, hey, look at yourself and say, first of all, what makes me tick? What do I enjoy? What is my real passion? Because in order for you to be really successful at something, you have to understand that this is what makes me happy. This is what makes me smile. This is what gives me goosebumps. This is what makes me get excited. And I would guess, center anything you do, around what your true passion is, because it'll be short-lived if it's not, and honestly, kind of one of my things that I enjoy is I like dealing with people and helping them find a solution. And a lot of that ends up just enjoying being around some people too. Like I enjoy talking to people. And in the end though, I want to say, hey, let's get back to the subject here. What can I do to really help you out? Because here's what my suggestions are to really help you. Whatever line of work it is that I'm in. But everybody's got a situation that they're in, or a problem that needs fixing or be improved on, whether it be like back in the heating, cooling, or a water condition. And that's kind of what I enjoy. Like I go back to, I wanted to be in marketing, because what I want to do, I want to work with people and find a better way to get them hunting and fishing gear, or something, So, but yeah, so whatever that is to get them to be successful, build that off of anything you can that you're passionate about, and I think again then you'll be able to find a million ways to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And you didn't. I don't think you listened to my last episode, but it was that same thing came up. The common thread is passion. Find something that you love to do and that you're going to do well, and then you're going to put in the time, right? Because the guy who loves basketball most, he's going to put in the most time on his free throws and everything else. So I really like that. That's a great answer. We should do. Life's too short not to do a thing that we love to do,
Absolutely.
and that's going to help you aspire to do great things in that. So,
Absolutely.
Jared, really want to thank you for the time tonight. This was great, and best of luck in all your business.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I really do appreciate this. That's good, man.